Well, I was just, reading through this comic book.
Were you reading a good story?
No.
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the edge of civility.
Alright, kids. It's 40 seconds later from episode 211. So that makes this episode 212.
Quack, quack, Boback, banana, fana, faux fact, me, my, momac, quack.
Right. I don't know why I felt the need to bring that out, but okay. We're talking DCs this week, so this ought to be
episode?
Another 45 seconds.
There you go.
This is 212.
Okay. And you are?
I am the Tech Jedi, Adrian Hunter. You are the Reverend Matt Duck,
Quack.
Bill McGinnis,
Quack twice.
who, regards himself as the talent.
Don't you, really?
Yeah. I do. I do. I wouldn't have a show without your stupid ass. Have another drink.
Without your technological savvy and your willingness to pay for site fees, then I wouldn't be on a show. So
You wouldn't be on a show that you don't care about.
no, kittens underneath trip people. I've proven time and time again. Dude, I'll tell you, going to work at 5 in the morning, cats on the staircase. Awesome.
Oh, hell
awesome.
no.
Pitch black stairs, cats, and me.
Yeah.
Not a good combination.
Don't like that routine.
I was literally halfway down thinking, I'm going to end up with my face through that wall in a minute. You fucking stupid cat bastard, you. And they're underneath like, oh, this is going to hurt you bad.
Is a cat bastard worse or better than a rat bastard?
Well, I mean, if a rat bastard met a cat bastard, then theoretically the cat would win if you don't take Tom and Jerry into consideration.
Ah.
That throws everything off.
But Jerry was a mouse.
He was a rat bastard. Like, if you go back and look at those, there's a whole lot of Jerry instigating going on in those cartoons.
Yeah, he wasn't exactly minding his own fucking business,
No.
was he?
He's a mouse turd of a mouse.
That is such an evil thing to say. I have Tom and Jerry checks, and I have for like 15 years.
I had Peanuts checks, but I was not willing to do that twice.
Well, it was either that or Scenes of New England, and I can't have that.
Couldn't you just have checks?
Just blank design checks, like stripes or some shit.
How is it you never got Batman checks?
I've never seen them offered.
Who's
Have
your
you
bank?
seen them offered?
Yeah, my Bank of America had Batman checks.
Yeah, but then you'd have to be part of Bank of America, so fuck that.
What bank are you?
Citizens.
Are you a citizen?
I am, in fact.
Fair enough.
I was born here. What the fuck, man? Anyway, no, fuck. You know what?
I
We're not
haven't known
talking
you
about
long
this.
enough, like-
We are not padding the episode this
I'm
much.
just saying, like, you weren't born and raised in New England, so you're a foreigner.
Oh, you're pulling this out again. I'm naturalized now. It's been 30 years.
Doesn't happen that way.
Oh, you're so full. Yeah, that's great. You're making up the rules from the guy who the rules benefit.
Hey, I believe the fact of the matter is, if you talk to any New Englander, if you weren't born and raised in New England, you're not a New Englander. That's not my rule.
You know what? With an attitude like that, who the fuck would want to be a New Englander?
Everybody.
What the hell is so prideful about that?
I have no
What
idea.
makes you so goddamn much better than everybody else?
Literally nothing,
Well, then what the fuck are you yapping for?
because it's fun. You almost had it. You almost had the righteous indignation. You just couldn't carry it through. You were right at the cusp. The indignant cusp.
And there's our title, The Indignant Cusp.
That's where we live.
What, like bicuspid? Like, what are we talking, fucking teeth here?
Probably
what the hell's
not.
the deal here? And yes, we're padding it because we got 6 whole books to talk about.
All right, what's first?
So what's first is arguably the best.
Where the
of
fuck is Sinestro, by the way?
It's on hiatus.
That's right. Yeah.
What's first is arguably the best of the convergences we got, being Shazam 2.
That's not arguably. That is far and away the best.
This one had a story, it had a plot, it had recognizable characters that we actually like, and Doc Shaner knows what the fuck he's doing with the Marvel family.
So the second one turned you around, because the first one you were only like, eh.
Well, I mean, it was okay. It was definitely readable. It was far better than the rest, but it hadn't really reached good yet.
You're right.
This one brings good.
So it also had a particularly strong involvement of both storylines.
That's hilarious. She covers herself up for a bear.
I enjoyed this. I think Doc Shaner, it does a really good job with Shazam, but it also did a good job with Gotham by Gaslight Batman.
Sure. I mean, he made Gaslight Batman look phenomenal coming off that blimp. And I know you love blimps.
I do. I am very blimp focused, which is not a sentence that most people ever have to say in their lives.
Very pro blimp.
Oh, yeah. If there's team, biplane and team blimp, I am totally on team blimp.
Unless there's a biplane attached to the bottom of said blimp. But
well, that's just
per
Nirvana.
the normal
Blimpvana?
no. Per the normal
Nirblimp?
convergence routine, two cities, Fawcett and Special Era Gotham, have been roughly combined or at least pitted against
each other
for the pleasure of Talos, the ill-defined alien menace that we've come to appreciate so well. And it doesn't matter because they eventually just decide that they're going to beat up Mr. Mind for a while.
Well, Mr. Mind is operating a giant tin robot who has brought all of the Gotham villains, which phenomenal looking page.
I normally don't give a shit about steampunk, but they were so effective in designing these particular Gaslight villains.
Who's your favorite?
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up right there between Joker and Mr. Freeze.
I thought I love the Penguin always works in that realm anyway, but
you throw those mutton chops on him and he's got this
it.
extra cachet.
It just killed it. It was a great looking group of villains. And I love the fact that Batman was basically willing to lose his world to save another one.
Sure, because it's not totally what Batman would do, but it is the kind of thing, if pushed under the right circumstances.
Yeah, this was the strongest. If you look at all these, the battle level has been iffy in most of them.
At best.
But this was a great use of both worlds. It made the challenge go successfully well. And Doc Shaner he kills the art.
He
really gets an awesome feel for the Shazam family. The Marvel family comes across as likable, slightly naive, and period.
Yeah.
And dude, anytime you have Mr. Mind, a giant worm working, a tiny worm working a giant robot.
But it self-destructs, though. So that's kind of like, what?
Well, there's a worm operating a robot that it's not going to get around long.
No, not particularly.
Like, let's turn left, self-destruct. God damn my worm arms.
God damn my worm arms. That's terrible right there. I can't go with that. What is wrong with you?
Who knows?
Damn my worm arms. But the design of the giant robot was pretty damn cool. Mr.
Everything
Atomic,
looked
whatever.
Great. Tawny Tiger looked great. Like
Talkie Tawny.
It's either way.
It's Talkie Tawny. Don't ruin the one cereal I love in this universe with thoughts of Mr. Talkie Tawny.
Wait, what is the one cereal you love in this universe?
Frosted Flakes, motherfucker.
Really?
Shit, yeah.
Why?
They're delicious.
They're great. There it is. I gave you the line, and you flubbed it.
I did not flub it. I made you work for it.
You flubbed it.
I am flub a motherfucker.
Dude, you are flubber.
Oh, we're going back to that now.
Really? We've never called you flubber before. We're not going...
Oh, that motif of the largeness. Oh, fuck off. There's something so wrong with you.
Yeah.
You still haven't put a comb to that hair.
No, I have not.
I guess we should pound through Convergence Wonder Woman 2. This was just an abomination of a story.
Red Rain, Red Rain.
They're putting together the Red Rain universe and something.
Yeah, some sort of
Modern Boston? I don't fucking know.
It's not current Wonder Woman. Steve Trevor is in the game, as is Etta Place or Etta Candy.
Yeah, Etta Candy.
So it's a period Wonder Woman that I'm not as familiar with. Basically, Batman vampire results in a world with vampire Batman villains, which are not done anywhere near as well. Plus, the Catwoman werewolf thing was so bad.
That was terrible. And, please, Larry Hama. Larry. I'm asking. Give me a better sentence than get away from him. I want his vital juices.
Come and knock on my door.
That was horrifyingly bad. This is 40 fucking years you've been writing comics. You can come up with a better line than that.
Dude, I love Larry Hama and G.I. Joe, but this was not good. I did like the fact that they took out Steve Trevor and Etta, and then on top of that had Trevor stay loyal even as a vampire. So there are a couple of cool character pieces. But once again, Wonder Woman often comes across as bland in her own book. Like, it's a very hard character to get done well. Like,
well, your standards of well are significantly higher than a lot of other people's.
Fair enough. I'll actually acknowledge that. But at the same time, like, Wonder Woman she's an insanely hard character. Like, a few years ago, I made an argument with some Brett, actually, talking about Thor. And I'm like, dude, writing Thor well is impossible. It's incredibly daunting because you have to get this world of Norse mythology and then the heroic world. And it's a character that's very easy to fuck up. In DC, Wonder Woman is the same thing. Like, you're trying to straddle, like, 5 worlds and characters.
That seems excessive. 5? I mean...
Greek mythology.
Yeah. And whatever period she's in normal world.
That's but
2.
That's not true, though, because you also have to get her as a heroic woman, and you also have to get her as her relationships within.
But those aren't worlds; those are themes.
But that's okay. Fine, 5 themes. Like, you can't just go. Like, if you suddenly revamp Sleepwalker, you just got to dive in and redo it. But Wonder Woman, she's iconic, which makes it that much harder. But you also have to stay within the character, but at the same time make her new and current. And then there's this weird 80 pounds of back character. Most of them have no personality. Tell me 3 facts about Etta Candy.
She's normally been portrayed as slightly overweight. She was an airman in the Air Force, and she's blonde.
All right. Well, the last one sucked, but I'm actually impressed that you got 2. It is just a ridiculous, challenging character to pull off.
Anyhow, so it's just a flat. Larry was not. I don't know why they picked Larry Hama for this.
Well, my whole thing with these is that mean this is the Wonder Woman we're going to get next?
No. That's not what it means at all.
If not, then what is the point of any of this?
There isn't a point. This was a marketing bunch of horse shit that they thought they needed to do to fill 2 months while they moved offices from New York to fucking L.A.
They seem to be revamping some of the books.
Well,
slightly.
they are, but they needed a break during that period, so they've hired a bunch of people who wouldn't normally do work for them. That is, sorry, who wouldn't normally do work for them. And they said,
or aren't currently.
Do some shit while other people catch up and move. Although, why, in the age of the fucking internet, anyone has to move anywhere?
No.
It doesn't make any kind of sense to me. I mean, A drawing table is a drawing table is a drawing table.
No, I mean, it's not like most of the writers and artists are attached in any way to DC headquarters, so theoretically none of these books should have been affected.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do this, you should have had the current Wonder Woman versus this or that.
Now, the other thing is, we've only been reading this. We haven't been reading the main series.
Yeah,
So
we're
we don't
waiting
know why
for those.
this is
How
happening.
close are we being done so we can actually delve into all that?
I just ordered Secret Wars 8 today.
Right, is that the last one?
Yeah.
So when that one comes...
2 more months before we can talk about those goddamn things.
Okay. But that's when we dive in and do all of it at once.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there are aspects of this that I'm curious about. There are aspects that I don't care about. I am looking forward to the debate of the two. Like, I think that will be interesting.
Yeah. Because they're essentially just 2 takes on the same idea. We're revamping our entire fucking universe because we don't know what else to do with it to make it sell.
Well, we've heard it so badly.
Yeah. Like, Marvel's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You know? Their methods are so bizarrely divergent from each other.
Well, Marvel's is sad. And I'll tell you why. Because Marvel is doing... We should save this for the conversation. Marvel is doing this because DC keeps outselling it despite Marvel putting out better books.
I don't understand how that's possible, though. I mean, I believe it, but I don't get it in the least.
It's like, let's revamp because we're losing and we shouldn't be.
You'd think Star Wars would be enough for anybody.
Yeah, because it is. But, yeah, that was poor. And speaking of poor, let's go into our next book.
Ugh. Shadow of the Bat. Again, finally, we get to see a zombie beaver.
Yay!
This is terrifyingly bad. Wow. Wow. What are you raising your hands in triumph for?
Dude, why I watch these things?
All right. So, they bring back Asbat, which I just can't handle. Azrael Batman is not a character.
Azrael?
Either way. Asbat was the
I
accepted
do enjoy
nomenclature through the 90s. It was just a flat-out bad character, and now they got the 2 Gothams running around between each other, and is this even 90s? Which Batman is this? Which regular Batman is this?
Well, that's the part that I don't like. The part where Batman takes out all of the wet works, I enjoyed immensely.
Yes, because Wetworks is fucking the abortion of Will Spertacio's lack of imagination.
But I totally enjoyed that. I did like the fact that they... I'm going to give Azrael credit, and it annoys me.
Yeah.
What I didn't like about this book is that somehow there's not even a parody, P-A-R-I-T-Y,
Yeah.
in these books, because now they're working together and it's okay. And then in the later book, they're working together and it's a huge, big fucking deal. Like, they don't even do this well.
No, really not.
But I like the fact that Azrael is like, in order to pull this off, I'm going to stay behind to make sure this happens, and erases his own character.
Which is pretty weird.
But perfectly in character for the insane freak that Azrael is.
In the sense that he might have some nihilistic tendencies. As
Totally
a matter
did.
of self-sacrifice, that is not like him at all.
But it also works because let's totally erase Azrael.
I want that to happen.
And that's my point. They're like, let's. This character needs to go.
But the thing is, he already did in the 52. There was no Azrael in 52.
He's been in the games.
That's not. In the games, they didn't put.
I don't know. None of this makes a lick of sense. Like, even the battles don't make sense. It's not like they're going like current versus this or this versus that. Like, to do
It's
this,
like they rolled dice and consulted a chart.
No, it's the opposite of that.
Yeah?
And I hate to disagree with you, but
No, you love fucking disagreeing.
no,
with me.
because you're just making a joke. But they decided who's gonna win, and they're like, who can they beat? Which is just lame.
Yeah, that seems likely.
If
1
or 2 interesting things, and we haven't read all of them to be fair, But if one or two like, if fucking Gotham by Gaslight Batman won, and suddenly all the Batman books are in 1800s.
We're not even sure that that's the point of the winning, though.
No, there's no point. But if that were the case, wouldn't you be like, holy shit, suddenly, you're buying Detective and like,
In
why is
Victorian
there a
era.
horse drawn carriage? Like, I did not see that coming.
That might not be a bad idea.
Well, it would be terrible with Batman. I think we can agree on that.
Well, for any length of time.
But that's my point. Like, if they'd done one or two where the weird guys won,
That might be interesting.
oh, suddenly the Warlord is back.
Nah. Everybody's back to Skartaris.
Right. If you erase a major character and fucking Warlord is the new book,
That might show some backbone
Exactly.
and a little vision.
but it doesn't read that way at all.
It sure
And
doesn't.
Whereas, again, sadly we are Marvel guys, but in the Marvel books, Old Man Logan is the returning Wolverine.
Which is a really good Wolverine that I enjoyed.
Whether or not it'll work, I don't know, but at least they're going there, and it doesn't feel like Convergence is doing anything with that.
No, I really don't think so.
So if you're going to preemptively, like, obviously you have to plan in advance who's going to win, but if you're not going to throw any surprises into that, it becomes like Bray's Day, where they bring back the 8 blandest fucking heroes. Like, where's fucking the Trigger Twins? Where's...
Your obsession with Trigger Twins kills me.
That's why I have one. But why not bring back Elongated Man? Like, give me somebody out of the norm. Where's Blue Beetle? Like, ooh, here's Martian Manhunter and Aquaman. Oh,
But there was a Ted Cord convergence.
right. So hopefully that means that
I
he's
got
coming
nervous
back.
about it because there was also a Booster Gold convergence, and they weren't together. So I'm like, maybe one day in the dollar bin I'll figure it out. But
Yeah, but if you're going to bring them back, okay, that's something. But yeah, erase somebody else. Like, make something have consequences to an event.
Well, that's the other thing. They had consequences to an event, and it worked for a very long time until people decided that they wanted to do things their own damn way, and the editors didn't have the backbone or the support from management to say no.
I don't have a problem with Barry Allen or Jason Todd coming back at this point because it's been long enough that it was impressive. But who's the last guy who died and didn't come back 8 days later, so to speak? That mattered.
Nobody.
Like, fine.
All right, now that's just ridiculous. You're so. I mean, come on, take your fucking knit cap off while you're in the lake in summer.
I'm just
Giant.
waiting. I'm just waiting for a zombie beaver to eat that dude.
I hope they do, man.
The fact of the
need
matter
him dead.
is you can't count on any of these things to matter, so why should I care?
Yeah.
We haven't read an event book in forever because they don't fucking do anything.
And then, that goes back to the whole, people want change, but they don't want change, so we give them the illusion of change. Blah, blah, blah. If a given change lasts a couple of years, 3-4 years, and gives me some good stories, I'll accept almost any change.
Right. But at least, Marvel, as much as I don't like it, is keeping female Thor and Falcap.
Well, maybe they are and maybe they aren't, because neither of those books were in this month's solicits either.
Well, that's interesting. I had read that, but as you pointed out, like, that's half a rumor, half a guess.
Yeah. Now, let's get forward with this. Now, Convergence Detective is the other one I liked.
That was mostly art-based.
It was mostly art-based, but I do like the way that Superman, even as a hardcore commie, was still down to be Clark Kent in the end.
There were a couple cool pieces in this. The Huntress, like, the emotional content of the Huntress asking to see the Batman's face, even though it's not her dad, to see her dad again, like, that was a really well done
good.
moment. And the Batman relating to Nightwing and Huntress. So there were a couple cool pieces of that.
Ha-ha!
That's bad. When a man holds his own foot, shit has gone poorly.
Yes, it's blood, you dippy bint. It's fucking zombievers.
Well, they don't know the title. That's the whole point. But yes.
They're genre blind.
I liked the art. Len Wein is an excellent writer.
He is.
This also had the feeling of battle, and I loved the Superman both being positive and negative character.
Right.
Just like Red Sun was. So I thought
get a tourniquet on that shit, yo. Anyway.
I thought there were some really cool pieces to it. But again, this didn't work as well as Shazam because it wasn't as clean a two-part story.
Yeah.
Because it didn't end well. It wasn't, where are they going from there?
No, there's nothing.
Shazam had the option of a one battle cleanly.
And then it gets over with and there's...
Right. And this did not.
Blech.
But, yeah, Cohen, Ink by Sienkiewicz, like, if you can't enjoy that shit...
Then you don't like comics.
Yeah, dude, nice. You were totally embracing my you don't like comics.
Because it fits so many circumstances, and it's utterly true. Oh my god, these zombievers are swarming.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Well, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, they're rocking the swimming deck. We're really pushing this episode.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right. Moving on.
I'm
moving right along
so-
in search of highways and byways. Friggin' Superman.
Ugh, goddamn. So, this is Flashpoint Batman, who is Thomas Wayne. And there's
Lois is
a
pregnant.
weird Justice League thing going on there with Jimmy Olsen and Cyborg, and there's a pointless fight with Superman and Captain Marvel, and I think it's Jon Stewart, right?
And Abin Sur at one point.
Oh, Abin Sur, yeah. And there's none of this makes any kind of goddamn sense.
Again, like, if the consequence is this, that I get a Superman who's dating Lois again, like, so be it. I'm fine with that. But there don't seem to be any point to any of this shit.
No, there ain't. So the stories themselves end up being nothing you can care about, even at their best. Thomas delivers the baby?
No, he doesn't.
That's right, he refuses.
So Superman delivers his own baby in a moment that no one ever wanted to see.
I can't believe there was even one person clamoring for fucking... You know what? You know what would make Cal a perfect father? If he delivered his own kid. No, I don't fucking think so.
No, it was... And then the weird dude who's obsessed with Lois that I didn't recognize. Like,
yeah, that was yet another clone-ish situation of Superman that didn't make any kind of sense.
yeah, not a big fan of that at all.
I hate every one of these books.
Shazam, I liked.
Shazam was okay. I could deal with Shazam. The rest of them were just no.
There were definitively a lot of no's to it.
And I truly feel that I've wasted fucking money on these things.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Because I'm reading them and the whole time I'm just like, no, why are you doing that? Stop
Well,
that.
this is where the downside of ordering in advance. Because in the past, when we did, when Flashpoint was around, you read one or two and you're like, hell no, I'm not getting any more of these.
Yeah.
But
Now we have to guess ahead of
yeah,
time.
so you're like, it's only two. I'm going to get one. I might as well get the second one.
Yeah.
Although, let's be honest, you have to keep Shadow of the Bat just for the virtue you spent all that time collecting all the Shadow of the Bats. You can't chuck the two.
Believe me, that has passed through my mind, and it's so irksome. So irksome.
Well, because you've evolved, and I hate saying positive things, but you have evolved.
About me, you mean?
Yeah. You've evolved past just completing, you know what I mean? But at the same time, you put all that time into getting every Shadow of the Bat. You have to keep these two stupid fucking things. At least
Yeah.
Azrael died at the end. If he won, imagine how pissed you'd be.
Oh my God, I'd have so angry if that had happened.
No, Superman 1 was crazy convoluted.
It was. I didn't get... it took a lot of effort to get through that and understand what I
Well,
was reading.
to their credit, all the Convergence kind of remind me of like the Alan Moore side worlds, where he just creates an entire world, and you're like, oh, dive right in. This has been around for years, and you're like, no, I don't know. This is issue 1. It hasn't, Alan. I hate to call you Alan, sir, but
I'll call him Al. Listen, Al. I get what you're trying to accomplish here, and I don't mind it. But you can't take that philosophy too far, because we adore Astro City, and that did not have a, well, here's where we begin.
no. But my point is, I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying, like, these.
Yes.
The positive of these is that it feels like you're just diving into something that's there, but it also makes it harder to relate to or enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, comics don't live in a vacuum. You can buy a random issue and enjoy it, but you can't follow like all the B story. Like if you buy, what your weird obsession is, late '60s, early '70s Thor.
Yeah.
Like if you find one, like that's the one random you're probably picking up.
Why won't they stab this thing in the head?
They
They'll
don't know
stab
it's a
it
zombie,
everywhere
man.
but the head.
These are not bright people. But my point being, like you pick them up, you have a good time in the store, you know all the characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But how often have you bought one of those and you're like, wait, Jane Foster was a Mormon?
It's true. It's true. And then you have to take the time to dig it up if it means enough to you.
Right.
And you say, well, oh, so that's what that storyline was
Right.
about.
Or you just sit there and accept the fact that you can't follow everything. Like if I buy a Power Man and Iron Fist, I know that I have no idea what's going on in the 18 friggin' small town backstories that are throughout that book.
Oh, I've totally gone the acceptance route. Totally.
Yeah, you have to.
And I've been trying to be a proponent of that for years.
But the problem with the convergence, accepting the convergence, is like it's fun, but at the same time it means nothing.
It's hard to invest in.
Because at least if you do that with your Thor or a Power Man and Iron Fist, you can always find the next one or the one before and fill that out. You're never going to fill any of these out.
There's nothing to fill.
Exactly.
So it becomes this irritating go-round of, do I keep it? Did I enjoy it? Am I ever going to read this again? And will it make more sense later? In the world of any kind of consequences for anything, will this be a factor?
Well, you're going to keep Shadow of the Bat.
Shadow of the Bat. I'll keep the Shazam because that was just flat out fun.
That was me, actually.
Oh, you'll keep the Shazam. You'll keep the Shazam because life fucks me.
You're going to keep Batman because if you can get Len Wein, Dennis Cohen, and Sienkiewicz to sign something.
Well, first off, it'll really.
Len Wein. I can't believe I've never thought of that before.
You know why you haven't?
Because I hate that song with every fiber of my being.
Because it's Ween.
Oh, fucker.
You don't like to be corrected, so
No,
I wasn't
God.
bothering you.
No, but the 8th time is probably a good time, though, bitch. All right, what's next in the sad filler DC episode?
Now we get back to comics we actually enjoy.
Sweet.
We are going with Astro City 23, which must have been a double shot for you, because it's monkey time! And we all know that biologically speaking, gorillas aren't monkeys. Go fuck yourself. Don't hit me up on Twitter talking about gorilla is actually a different genus. I know science, asshole. Shut up.
Magilla, gorilla for hero. No,
Great fucking ape up in this motherfucker.
Nice. I'm very happy with our references today.
This is the great story about Styx, the gorilla from the Savage Land analog, who just wants to play his
Gorilla
fucking drums,
City.
man.
Fighting dinosaurs.
He just wants to play his drums.
And discovers music. Oh, dude, love this issue. Love. And again, there's a youth feel to this one that's been missing from so many Astro Cities.
And here it is.
And you said, because I've been saying that for a while, like, wait for the next one. And finally, it's here. Like, Styx wants to be a musician. He's not interested in being a superhero. but he's got all his Gorilla City ninja skills.
Yeah, which is all baggage from his time in Gorilla City's military.
Right. And of course, at any given point, he's sitting there going like, "Hey, I'm going to try out. Oh, superhero attack.
Oh, I got to
in
help people."
To be fair, in Astro City, everybody's gig gets broken up by a supervillain attack.
Pretty much.
Maybe the Stones could play without an interruption.
And they put a very Planet of the Apes-esque spin on the armor and the visuals of Ape City, etc. But yeah, like you said, he hears this music and he's like, "Whoa!" He makes himself some makeshift drums out of like fucking coconut shells and shit. And he starts learning that stuff, and he goes and he fucking joins a band, and he has a great time at it. But his overblown sense, well, probably not overblown, I shouldn't say that. His huge sense of responsibility won't let him just stand there banging the skins while people are getting hurt.
Because Styx is a decent gorilla.
Right.
And it's so well done, and it's so unexpectedly light and fun. I adore Astro City. I'm so happy that this book exists and that monkey drummers are out there. And yes, again, monkeys are not gorillas. Thanks for clearing that up. Like, the number of books we both buy is so small.
Yeah. Most of this is my taste that you want to talk about anyway. So...
Or stuff I let you buy and then like, shit, I should have gotten that.
Now, you do influence me on a bunch of stuff.
I know, it's fun.
That doesn't mean that's your copy.
Yay!
None of the rest of this shit is yours,
Nope.
Which means I gotta tote it home. Do you want to talk about Mad Max, Nux, and Imperator Joe? Or
I do.
Immortan Joe.
I do, and for one simple reason. I didn't get to see Mad Max in the theater. You did.
Yeah, twice.
So we have completely different views. Because to me, this book had no merit whatsoever. Nux is a tiny baby who clings onto a floating skiff and becomes a horrible person. And Immortan Joe is a terrible person who becomes a general.
Worse person.
And then somehow good press suggested he could never die. I don't know who these characters are in the film, so their backstory is not exactly enthralling.
Well, Immortan Joe is exactly who he implies to be, and he's the leader of the society that's central to Fury Road.
Okay. And Nux?
Nux is a side character who, in a very weird and complex arc, starts off actually taking transfusions from a comatose Max and then becomes the savior of the escaping women.
Really?
Well, I shouldn't say savior because they do a lot of their own fucking saving.
Yeah.
But he assists heavily because he realizes that most of his life with Immortan Joe was very deceitful.
Transfusion, oh man, I got
he's a
the
war boy.
motherfucking confusion.
So there's a very big mythology around Immortan Joe and the War Boys and going to Valhalla and living and dying and living again and oh, what a lovely day.
All right, so did you appreciate the backstory of the characters having seen the film?
I found them to be completely unnecessary, actually.
It is not terrible. It's well drawn. Leandro Fernandez is an above-average comic artist. So, although every time I see him, I'm like, oh, Riso. And then I look and I'm like, not Riso. What? Don't lie to me, comic artist.
No, I mean, they were pointlessly enjoyable, I guess is a good way to put it.
Is it box of shite? Is it wait and see if it's slab?
You know, it might slab, actually.
Because the movie did very well.
The movie did very well. And, you know, we'll see what can eventually shake loose. But
not a keeper.
It doesn't really add anything to the experience I had with the flick.
No, it wasn't thrillingly compelling or interesting. But I wanted to talk about it because, of course, we have the two different viewpoints because you relate to the characters in a way that I simply can't. And strictly from I've never seen this, let me read this, like, no. No.
I doubt that when you see Fury Road, however you see it, disc, Netflix, whatever, I seriously doubt that this will add any kind of depth to your experience.
I suspect that as well. It was not. Now are you going to get the Furiosa one, the next one?
No, because I read several reviews that admittedly were from people who have severe leanings toward the social justice subculture. So they immediately latched on to all the negatives that were in it. But when you look at the facts of what they said, rather than their feelings of what they read,
It still didn't read
it
well.
still didn't seem appealing in the least.
Fair enough.
So,
All right. So,
no, and we always like to end the episode with a feeling of, ugh.
Well,
So-
it's DC week. It's not like I have other options.
We should have finished. We should have swapped them out and finished with Astro City.
No, because if we didn't get through both, you really want this to be the only episode that's out there? Nah, bitches. You don't. You don't. You do not. Nah.
But you know what? 40 minutes is close of fucking
Wow,
enough.
we got 40 minutes out of this
We
hunk of crap?
pushed at hard.
Dude,
and got-
DC is like my kryptonite at this point.
But, you know, there's a whole lot of changes coming to DC, and, you know, they waited a whole 4 years to revert what they were doing.
You know what's interesting about DC, though? I was thinking about this.
Yeah?
DC, I get Astro City, and I get Sinestro.
Right.
How many Marvel books do I actually pay for?
You don't.
Not true. One.
We
Just started.
just started? Believe it. Howard. It's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a weird point, too.
Well, I think that we'll be doubling up on the Bendis Iron Man. Although if you include Star Wars, then 3 or 4.
You know, the licensed
can't
products,
really,
I'm not
though,
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
because of the licensing thing. I would buy them regardless of company.
Exactly.
So,
But yeah, so weird, right? Like Sinestro is of the big two. Sinestro is the most consistent book that I buy.
It's absolutely true.
Insane.
Kind of odd.
Damn you, Cullen Bunn.
Especially with my dislike of villains getting their own fucking books.
I'm all about that, man. Have I told you my theory for a Batroc book?
No. Let's hear it.
Yeah, it's all
We
about
got time.
Batroc the Leaper.
Yeah.
It's a caper book where he's because he can be hired by anybody. So you get him hired by, the classic villain book way.
Yeah.
Like, you're hired to do the right thing. And you bring in the whole Batroc Brigade with Rapido, and
It's a start.
you can't see that?
It's a start. I mean, I'm sure you could flesh it out somehow. Would you play it straight or? Would
No,
you go
dude, totally fucking Ocean's 11 with Batroc. And if the words Ocean's 11 with Batroc don't tempt you, find another podcast. Like, you can still read comics, I'm not going to lie. It's not for everyone. But you're never going to enjoy this podcast the way it should be enjoyed, which is not sober.
Right, which is what we ain't now.
Bless ye turkeys and zombie beavers.
And the way.
Quack.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. Find us on Facebook, Stitcher, Twitter under @TheMeanerGeek. Subscribe to us through RSS.
Or we can be located at our own site, www.themeingeek.com. And most importantly of all, you can find us as a proud member of the Comics Podcast Network.
Email us directly at TheMeanerGeek@gmail.com.
Can I drink now?
You may.